Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you everybody for the new subscribers, all the beautiful and kind messages and comments that you've already left me. I just feel so amazing just building this community of like-minded people that I've never met. Hopefully we get to meet someday in the future. I'm here at the beautiful beach in Tulum, Mexico, and I'm here at one of my favorite hotels, Nomade. So I teach here every week, and I teach a water therapy class here, and I just want to share some beautiful insights that came through after class today. The water always has so much to teach us with feminine energy, being in flow, letting go, feeling our emotions, connecting to our sexuality, feeling and opening the heart. And there's just always such beautiful reflections after each class that I have with people. So today's class, there was 7 of us, and so there was one woman that I worked with, and we all go around in the beginning and we do a little meditation, we connect with the element of water, we share what water means to us, and we talk about our relationship to the feminine, our relationship to women in general, to the sister, to the mother, to the grandmother archetype. And when my partner shared, she didn't really want to share anything, and she was very closed. And this is, normal. A lot of people are like this, and everybody's in their own process. So I respect everybody where they are. And then we went in the water, and before we go into the water to work on each other. So in this class, it's not a training or anything. It's an hour-long class, and each person gets 15, 20 minutes, maybe a little bit more, to hold the person in the water. And I teach everybody different movements that you can do to release tension in the body, to help relax the mind. And today we went in the ocean. The ocean is really, really beautiful, and I hope everybody can hear me okay. Maybe it's kind of like a little bit of a meditation with the ocean sounds in the background. But so before we go in the water, we each have our partner and we hold hands. We hold hands with each other, and the person that's giving the therapy, so the person's gonna hold the water baby, we ask, so I ask my partner, I ask her how she's feeling, how her heart's feeling, how her body's feeling. Does she have an intention? What is it? What do you want to share in regards to this session? Because the water opens up a lot. And she didn't really want to share even with me, and I was kind of encouraging her a little bit to say something, because it's okay, like the water's here for you. You're in a water therapy class, so the water is all about going into everything. The water submerges everything. When you spill water on paper or on the floor, everything gets wet. It doesn't pick and choose. So the water is fully open. So I was like, okay girl, you gotta open up a little bit because you're in a water therapy class. And she was, she said, oh, my heart is hurting a little bit, and maybe I feel a little bit of sadness, and great, so let's work on that. This can be our intention. And even that I felt was already kind of moving a lot, and really proud of her for even saying that and connecting to that emotion. So I started to work on her a little bit in the water, and a lot of people have trouble relaxing in the ocean, and in general with the water therapy, just because it's somewhere we've never been before. I mean, we have been there once in our mother's womb. So when you go into the water therapy, it's also like going back into your mother's womb. So our cells, our soul remembers this feeling. This is also why it's so deeply healing. So she was having some trouble relaxing and holding, and wasn't really wanting to let go. And a lot of people aren't ready to let go, and the water is here to teach us that, and if you're not ready to let go, then you take a break and you work on something else. And that's what I want to talk about with her experience, is that I'm so proud of her because she wasn't feeling it. She probably didn't know what to expect for the session today. Most people don't know anything about water therapy. And then when she was in it and I was kind of working on her and trying to help her relax and open and breathe, she realized that she didn't want to be doing that. So she stopped and she said, thank you so much. This is not for me. And then she left. And I just want to share that because I really appreciate her taking her values and her feelings as important, more important than making me happy or staying in the class, and valuing and honoring how she's feeling in that moment and respecting herself for that, and leaving and deciding to not work on that in that moment. The one thing I do want to say is, I thought there was like a truck driving by. The one thing I do want to say is that it's wonderful and beautiful. Oh no, here comes like a big, loud truck. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I don't want to stop the recording. I really don't want to edit this. So let's see. I really hope everybody can hear me. So what I want to say about that is it's beautiful to honor how you're feeling, to respect yourself where you are, to have that self-awareness in the moment, to choose not to go into something, but create time and space to go back to it later. So I really hope that she feels that and can access that healing for herself later. And I hope that it's not just hidden away, because then it'll continue to perpetuate those feelings of sadness and heartbreak and things like that. So, well, here is the beautiful aqua truck cleaning the seaweed, so saying hello. It actually looks really pretty next to the water. All right, so anyway, I wanted to share her story, and there were two other stories that I felt were really beautiful, and so much messages, beautiful messages of the water. So the next couple, and it's funny because you notice when you do this type of work, because you notice how couples act like each other. They look like each other, they breathe like each other. So in the water therapy, you know, today in these classes, these workshops that I do at the hotel, we don't go under the water. It's not a full session. It's just like 10%, 5% of the session. We stay above water. We don't go under, hold our nose or our breath. But I still emphasize the breathing, because the breathing is really like the key, the access to all of our healing and so many different practices. The breath is our tool. I mean, the breath is the first medicine that we ever received when we came out of our mother's womb, and it'll be the last medicine that we ever consume or take in before we leave. And we're always breathing every day, in and out. And, you know, we take it for granted, but our body is constantly cleansing, detoxifying, and healing us. And we're conditioned in society to breathe really shallow, or more like to breathe really shallow, to the point where we don't even know it. And I always help people to access their breathing in this workshop, because most people that come here don't know how to breathe. We know how to breathe, like our body's always doing it, but breathing deep into the belly, nourishing breaths, even opening the mouth, relaxing the jaw open. So most people, I think also there's some conditioning around exhaling through the mouth. I mean, I remember when I first learned this therapy as well, I don't think I ever exhaled like, I don't know how I exhaled, but it wasn't like that. And I remember when my teacher was doing it, I was like, why is he being so like dramatic and like emotional and sensual, whatever. I just felt that it was strange. But it's so healing to breathe like that. I mean, think about in the morning when you wake up, what do? You yawn. How healing and deep is that breath? So when we have private sessions, we go under the water. So the breath is even more important. But again, today we just stay above the water. But I always help people connect to their breathing, especially when so it's really like when they're receiving and when they're giving. And this is something that's so beautifully healing with this therapy as well. So you really heal yourself when you give the therapy. You learn a lot about yourself when you give the therapy. And in the beginning of the class, we do a meditation, we connect to some breathing, we slow our breath down, we deepen our breath, we practice breathing lower and 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 lower. And drop a comment if you know how to breathe really deep into your body, or if you just learned, or what your experience is, because a lot of people don't know how to do this. I mean, I just learned how to do this a few years ago. I always would breathe to here. And when I would try to breathe deeper, I couldn't. I felt tension in my stomach, and you know, it takes a little bit of practice, but once you learn how to do it, you can actually like diagnose yourself and your stress level by tuning into your breathing. So if you can breathe easily into your belly, you're already relaxed. If you have some trouble breathing into your belly, you're probably holding on to some tension or some stress. So you can kind of like check in with yourself, because a lot of times we're so busy with our day-to-days, and we wake up, we do things, and if we don't have a moment to meditate or do like a pulse check, like, hey, how are you doing, Kayla? Like, oh, it's been a really stressful week. I haven't slept much, and I'm behind on this, and actually my shoulder is hurting from sleeping. So you can be like, oh, okay, my stress level is probably like an 8 or a 9, and that's normal, you know? So we don't always have time for these pulse checks, and just by doing this breathing is like a great pulse check. So anyway, before I go on a long tangent about breath, this couple, so they were breathing very shallow. And again, like I said, a lot of people breathe like this. And we were in the water, and when the one was receiving, I tell the person, when you're holding the person in the water, to help them relax, you have to breathe. So I'm coaching the giver to breathe like, and when the person's receiving, when they're in the water, they're totally out. Like their ears are submerged. They're just like a baby in the womb. They're sleeping, like they're just resting and nourished and healing and going deep. And there's no like words or communication, because they're receiving their session, but they can feel everything from the giver. You're literally connected, like a mother and child, like womb, like the umbilical cord. You're completely connected, and you become one in the water. So I'm always coaching and guiding the people holding the water babies to breathe. And when you take a deep breath, then the person receiving, you see them relax, you see them breathe, you see them let go, because you're one at that moment. And then we switched, and then the other partner was also breathing very, not even breath, it just was kind of like, almost like you can't tell that they're breathing at all. And I was showing them breathe, open the mouth, kept closing the mouth, and even when they exhale, exhaling like, so there's some conditioning that has happened around this exhale as well that is not natural, and it's not healing either. And a lot of people do this as well. So the throat, the jaw, throat chakra is connected to the sacral chakra, the hips, the womb, and that's where we store a lot of our emotional trauma, our tension. And if you have a lot of tightness and emotions in your hips, most likely you have a tense jaw, tense mouth, maybe you grind your teeth. So with this therapy, we work on the jaw to help open the channel to heal deep into the emotions. So this is something that we really, really work on a lot. And I just wanted to share that with you guys today. Like, maybe that's something you can tune into and work on a little bit with yourself. It doesn't even have to be any intense or difficult breathwork session. Literally just sitting with yourself, maybe even like doing first a massage on your face, massaging your jaw. This is something I offer in my somatic therapy sessions. We do face massage, breathwork, EFT tapping, but massaging the jaw, opening the mouth as wide as you can. Do it alone if you don't want anyone to see you. A lot of people feel vulnerable, or they don't want to be seen when they're opening their mouth. And opening the mouth, opening the jaw is like releasing everything trapped, everything stuck within the throat, and then all the way down the channel to the sacral chakra, our area of creation, of play, of sensuality, of money, creating money. And who doesn't want more of that, right? So we have to just open and let go of whatever is gonna come out. So usually we don't really like what comes out, and that's why we don't let it come out. So if you can do this practice even by yourself, try to accept whatever comes out, let the sounds come out, feel weird, who cares? Open the throat to connect to the womb. Singing is another beautiful, beautiful healing exercise to open the throat, to heal the throat. And their session ended really beautiful because the husband was he received last, and he was very uncomfortable in the water, and he was unable to relax his head. He just was like holding his body, like he wouldn't surrender himself to the water, to his wife, because he felt unsafe around the waves. He didn't want to get splashed. He, and then I was holding him for a while, trying to relax him, but he wouldn't let go. He wouldn't let go. And it's funny because they ended up laughing hysterically at the end of the session because she was holding him and he was holding his head like this so much and opened his mouth, and then he got splashed in the mouth. Like a huge wave came and like knocked them both out, and they both started laughing hysterically. And it just was beautiful, beautiful, because that's also one of the amazing healing benefits of water therapy. So not only does it help to process heavy emotions like depression, sadness, anxiety, stress, but once it kind of processes that, it lets you play, it lets you laugh, it lets you feel passion, it lets you feel like a kid and have fun. And so I was really happy to see that their session ended that way. And the last thing I want to share is there was one other couple there as well, and the insights are so beautiful because they're the spirit, the message of the water coming through and teaching. So I love the sharing circles at the end because everybody's experience teaches me something as well. So in the beginning, the guy was another couple, a married couple. The guy was holding the wife laid down, and a lot of men do this. So he was like holding her like this, like you hold them, let them surrender. And I was holding her, like her head was above the water, her legs were above the water. He was holding her like a baby. The water was like down here. And he said, let her go, let her head float. You gotta let her float, and you wanna barely hold her. You wanna just support her so that she's floating, this and that. But it's normal. When you first try to do this, a lot of people feel insecure, frustrated, confused. It's a lot of responsibility. Oh, I don't want them to drown. So he's holding more, he's holding more. And then, towards the end, he kind of was learning to let go a little bit. And then I grabbed her at the end, and I was working with her a little bit at the end. And I was holding her by her head, so you hold with the two hands. And some people float really easily, and then some people sink, they're very heavy in the water. So I always check that first when I grab the person. So I was holding the wife, and I was holding her head and then like around her hips. And I was telling him, I always try to let them sink, feel when they're about to sink, and then that's where I hold them. So I let my hand by her legs completely go. She was so light in the water. Her legs were completely floating. I was barely holding her head, and I showed him, I was like, you barely even need to hold her, just let her float and support her. And then at the end, when we came out and we were all sharing our experiences, he shared that, and he said, a lot men, have to be responsible and doers and focus and fix things a lot, in our day in life, and women too. But I think men have this really strong responsibility that they have to be in control all the time. So he was saying, I'm really I have to be in control all the time in my life. And when I went in the water, I was trying to control holding her, and I didn't need to do that, I realized. He mentioned when I held her, I barely was holding her head. So he was saying that he realized that he was overworking more than he needed to, more than was necessary, and how this is a reflection of his life and how he is in his life. And it's so beautiful to see that, because what I love about the water therapy is that you learn these beautiful lessons, and the message of the water flows into your life and stays with you, and you learn these things. So now hopefully he'll go back home and maybe have this memory in his mind to remember to only put minimal effort as much as you need, and everything else you can just relax. So the truck is coming by. So that's all that I have to share about the water today. I'm so grateful for everybody joining me on my channel. I have a new podcast coming up today, actually. I just need to finish editing it, so it should be posted either tonight or tomorrow. So my podcast is Spiritual Nutrition. It's about, right now I'm mainly talking about emotional healing, manifestation. In the next coming weeks, I'll be talking more about Ayurvedic nutrition, detox protocols, manifestation, somatic healing, trauma healing, and things like that. So thank you all so much. If you liked this, please like my video and share with people, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have an amazing day.